I'm Dr. Brandy.
I'm Dr. Joe.
And you're in for a
hell of a ride.
Everything Life, Love, and Legacy.
Yes, sir. Buckle up.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
I'm Dr. Brandy.
I'm Dr. Joe.
And you're in for
a hell of a ride.
Everything Life, Love, and Legacy.
All right. You ready?
Buckle up.
Because you're in for a hell of a ride.
Let's ride. Don't make it scary.
Let's ride. All right.
Make it inviting.
I mean, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you? Anyways, let's go.
And you got to lick your lips.
Are you?
Yeah.
Ready?
Ooh. No, we ain't going on that kind of ride. Y'all better chill out.
Leave that in.
Oh, you need your hoochie daddy shirts on is what you need. No. Not that kind of ride. Not today.
All right. Let's do it. So we're going to go right into weather report.
Weather report.
How you feeling?
I am feeling... It's it's pleasant. It's like a very mild temperature. So I'm going to go with like a 71 degree, little bit of an overcast.
Okay. I take that. What I'm going to go with today, how I'm feeling, I'm feeling as though the weather is good enough for me to go get on a little raft and just take it down the river. So it's about 60s, 70s, sunny out, have a good time.
So it's comfortable, it's pleasant and light, and you're in an adventurous spirit.
There you go. Good way to interpret that.
Awesome. Ready for a little adventure.
Yeah,
I'm with it. Yeah, so we're both feeling okay, feeling pretty good.
I think what's top of mind for me is this topic that we're going to talk about. You know, we're kind of figuring out what we wanted to talk about.
Well, it just seemed natural to talk about friendships and connections.
It was natural. So, I think for me, I think about my boys, right, who, I've been rocking with, in a sense, the same crew since like middle school, high school. And so I'm excited to talk about, this thing that most people call friendships.
Friendships. I feel like it's such an kind of an underrated dimension of our lives. Like everybody wants to talk about romance and entanglements and marriage.
Yeah.
But we don't really talk that deeply, I don't feel like, about friendships. And then people will talk about family, but usually they talk about it from the perspective of trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or tradition. But we don't really talk about friendships that much.
Okay, so we gonna talk about it. Right?
Yeah.
And we need to define what that means because, if this podcast, Hell of a Ride, talks about life, love, legacy, part of everybody's life is at least trying to have some type of tribe that you're close with, right? And some people feel like they don't have friends, right? Some people feel like I have fake friends, I have associates, right? They make all this lingo in this language, but what does friendship actually mean to you?
You know what? Friendship, honestly, like real friendship, like deep friendship, intimate friendship, vulnerable friendship, it's a little bit like marriage to me.
Damn. Okay. Say more.
It kind of is, because it's kind of like, and then there's levels, if we're going to use an analogy, it's like, well, no, I can't use a very good analogy. I was going to say it's like dating or marriage.
We don't have to stop using analogies on this podcast.
I know, we be getting into trouble with these analogies. Like, well, so yeah, friendship means to me like a deep, intimate. Well, no. It's variable intimacy.
And while you're telling me, I'm going to look up the definition.
Okay, but it's because you're asking what it means to me.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like a varied intimacy across the lifespan with someone that you just rock with. Okay. And that's why I say varied, because there are your BFFs, like your best friends. There are your FFs, your forever friends. There are your kind of like acquaintanceships that are friendly.
Yeah.
There are work friends. And then, so I feel like there are levels.
Okay.
of depth or of intimacy or of breadth, you know?
I got you. It's interesting because I just pulled up the definition. But before I say the definition, I think my definition of friendships is someone that I know has my best interests at heart. I have their best interests at heart, and they'll keep it real with me the same way I'll keep it real with them. And there, as you said, there's different levels of trust with friendships. And I think that's based off of your experience with your friends, how long you've been around them, things that you all have been through, And so for me, that's what friendship is to me. Because I feel like I have a lot of friends. Like I have a lot of people that I can say, oh, that's my friends. But I have my friends. You know how we say, is it cold? It ain't cold. It's cold. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's like your like aces,
my ace
like your
boom.
best, your BFFs.
Yeah. So like my boy Larry, L House, Marcus Ivy, Phil Calvert.
I know.
I've been rolling with them for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And so I think like as we begin to talk about friendship, I'm going to talk about it in that capacity, but also like the other levels of friendship that I have.
Because you're right. You do, like, no matter where we go, you know somebody.
Oh, yeah.
You got, what's the distinction? I know the friends are like the best friends. What qualifies a person as a best friend for you?
Well, one particular word that we haven't brought up that's in the actual definition of friendship is trust.
Right.
Right. And being able to trust them, and not just trust them where, you all can go do some crazy stuff and they'll never share, but trust them like if I call them, they're going to give me the real. Right. They're going to keep it a buck with me. They're not going to make me feel like I'm the best, or they're going to try to show both sides. So trust in that I can go to them and I know for a fact I'm not going to get no foolishness.
They're going to have your best interest at heart.
Best interest at heart.
Something you would also want in a marriage.
Something you would want in a marriage.
So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I think I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I also feel like, and this might be jumping too far ahead, but I do, because your friends have been your friends, the four you're talking about, forever.
Yeah, the
three.
L House, Marcus Ivy, Phil Calvert.
Oh, three. Yeah, three. Yeah, it's for y'all.
There you go.
Sorry. So, like, for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I do, like, so y'all, your maturity changes, though.
For sure.
So, I've never really had friends like this, but, like, I'm sure there are people that have had best friends that did some reckless shit with them. Mm-hmm. Like, reckless, that's not having your best interest at heart. But you're not mature enough to know that.
We've all done some.
But you get what but you're saying, trust that you have my best interest at heart. And I'm like, sometimes we don't even know what our best interest is.
True.
Like when you've had friends for a long, long, long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I once read something and it said, a good friend is a friend that if you ever go to jail, they'll bail you out. They said a best friend is a friend that will be in jail with you.
No, I don't like that. That's not true. What we both gonna do in jail?
The point was like, hey, we rolling together. What happens, happens.
Nah.
But I'm like, I was thinking like, man, somebody got to get us out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because think about it. No, that's actually not the best friend. Because the best friend would have been the one that's like,
keep you
let's
out that
not
situation.
Do that. Let's not go. That's not what's up.
I mean,
but you can't. But I guess this is kind of deep in a way because it's like, when you've had like long friendships, and I don't even just mean age-wise, but also just maturity and experience, people are on their own developmental journey, though.
That's true.
So they might genuinely care about you and have your best interest at heart in a way, but they're limited in their own perspective or their own emotional skills,
Yeah. But I think like when you're younger, it's almost like, oh, if I get into it with some people, they got my back, right? That's my boy. That's my friend.
Too.
We all fighting. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like when you get older, it's like if somebody spots out an issue or a situation about to happen, let me make sure you not in the situation or we not in the situation, right? The maturity and the development of the individual. But what I will say is that, you know, there are also times where you begin to realize that some of the people that you call your friend, that level, they may have decreased a level in your friendship, right? Or you may realize, man, they're not who I thought they were, or you've evolved to a point where you've just outgrown them, right?
Yeah, that's a big thing I think people are contending with, especially, you know, probably even at our stage of life, age and stage, you know, things change. But you're making me think of something else. Like, it's like a best friend is the one, like at certain parts of your development, it's like ride or die. We're in this together. Then it moves to, well, we don't want to die. Like, let's ride out. Let's ride out. You know, let's ride out. But then the other thing is, if I find myself in a situation, a part of being a good friend is not dragging you along with me. So if you say I'm out, I have to understand. Yeah. Like, a part of me being a good friend to you is like, yeah, I don't want this smoke for you. Like, remember on, what was it? Was it Boys in the Hood? I think it was Boys in the Hood. When they made
Trey got out the
when they made
car.
him get out the car, and they were like,
no, he was like, yeah, he told Doughboy Q, he was like, let me out.
And they were like,
at him, and they pulled over
and let him out. They didn't clown him. They didn't. They knew, like, that. You know.
So even though they was on, you know, they was about to go do what they did, they knew, like, he ain't got to be a part of this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a good friend too.
And that's a good friend. Like, I mean, I think depending on how you grew up and where you grew up, there are times where you're connected to people who aren't doing things that are the greatest, right? Mm-hmm. But they make sure to keep you out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think one of the things that we must learn to do is, yes, have people like that, but also know when to keep yourself out of situations. Right. And
then don't be a terrible, like, reciprocity is important too. Don't be a terrible friend clowning them. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So
I got a question. Like, you know, so we kind of defined what friendship. Oh, let me read specifically what the official, because, you know, I started to go back to the root of certain things, and the definition of friendship is a state of enduring affection, esteem, intimacy, and trust between two people.
Okay.
Right. So I like that.
I said intimacy.
Right. We didn't talk about esteem or affection or trust, but we kind of hit some of those areas in our own way.
You hit trust. Yeah. The esteem is cool because it's kind of like you hold this person in, like, a positive regard. Yeah. Like, you see something really special or valuable in that person. Yeah.
So I have a lot of questions, but I'm gonna start with this. So we kind of identified what friendship is, right? What does it look like, right? So we know what it's supposed to be, right? The definition, but what does it look like on a tangible, like, reality level?
You know, you're making me think of being a child and how a lot of times you acquire your best friends just based on proximity.
Right.
And, like, your parents or where you grew up in a neighborhood or whatever. And it's mostly anchored in interest. Like, we share the same interest.
Basketball, you play basketball.
Yes, interest and its proximity. Yeah. Right. And familiarity. I see a part of me in you. So you see that culturally and racially and all that. And interest. And then I think it evolves to, it's almost like a more sophisticated version of that, where you're, like, defining your interests more fully. Like, if you go to college and you pick a major, it's usually the people that, you know, or you join a sorority or fraternity or whatever. Yeah. But then I think over time, it becomes values, interests, safety, emotional and psychological safety, comfort, and maybe even just chemistry.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, I like the safety, compatibility. It's interesting because when you said it's like marriage, now I'm like, yeah, I guess it is like marriage. It's like a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And it has its ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Right. And so, when I think about what it actually looks like, because yes, it could, when you're younger, it could be proximity, you're interested in the same stuff, all that. But what it looks like to me is, because sometimes what I think is the way in which we see friendship or like best friend or that's my homie writer is almost sometimes like
who you with all
the time, right? And as you get older, you go off, have your families, you may move, and sometimes you get on that phone after a month and it feels like y'all spoke yesterday, right? And I think like those are some of the things that I pay attention to, right? And then I also pay attention to what kind of conversations are we having now as we get older, right? What kind of advice are you giving me versus when we were younger? You would have been like, let's go bust their head. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now you're like, no, we ain't doing that.
We're more
like,
mature.
Listen, we got mo to lose, right? And so I think like the way it looks is definitely different than when we were younger and now. And I think sometimes now it's a phone call. Maybe we traveling, going to do something, right? Maybe our kids are getting together, right? So it just looks a little bit different, but I think what's most important too for the people who maybe their friends are in the same city, like still in the same vicinity, I think the question is like, what does that actually look like for you? What does friendship look like for you if you're with somebody or you talk to them every day, you see them every week, you're giving them your energy, you're giving them their time, your space? What does that look like? Because too many people are giving folks access to them only because they've known them a long time, not because they're giving them the reciprocity and energy and love that they desire and that they need.
You're hitting on something that I think happens. Again, we're making these parallels in marriage and in romance and companionship, romantically, but then also platonically in friendship, which is kind of this habitual notion of loyalty. Like it's like a habitual connection, even though it's not really, it isn't really that. Yeah. It's just like a habit. It's a habit or it's a comfortability that no longer serves me. Yep. It's comforting in a destructive way or in a very limiting way or a stifling way. And I think, it's so interesting you say that because I sit and I think and I'm like, man, all of the people I deem the closest to me, like all of my friends, like my closest friends are everywhere. Like nobody is directly accessible to me. Yeah. None of them. Right. And, honestly, that's in part by virtue of how amazing we all are, because like everybody's kind of, and what I mean by that is everybody's in their own path. Everybody's living their life. I've got a really close friend of mine, well, 3 really close friends of mine that live in Atlanta. Yeah. And in their careers, one is pursuing a doctorate while she's working full time. The other one is like, has a high kind of profile job and she's a parent. The other one is an entrepreneur, and then I've got really close friend in some close friends in Michigan. And then I've got a close friend in New Orleans. Yeah. Like everybody's pursuing their path. And it's so beautiful in a way, because it's like, we don't kick it. Sometimes we don't even kick it, but annually. But it's like that bond. Yeah. Is unbreakable. So I think it's that too. It's when your bond, you don't have to talk every day. Yeah. You don't have to. So I would say I would add a characteristic for me that I really find important in my closest friendships is grace. I need it. I mean, because I'm a talker.
I ain't said nothing.
I am a talker. However, my career is based on being a talker. Yeah. I don't want to talk on the phone sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's not that I don't love you and I don't care about you. I just don't have the energy. Right. I don't want to. We all tease about what hanging out looks like at 20 and 30. Oh, yeah. When you're 40, you don't want to go to the club. Right. Right. You want to chill at home. You want to minimize stimulation.
You go to the day party. You don't want to go to the night party.
Periodically.
Or the happy hour.
But even that, hit me once, I'm good.
Yeah, like, I'm going. 7, 8 o'clock. Oh man, I'm tired.
Wait, have you seen, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Have you seen those, like, I've seen a few of these. I even reposted one on Instagram where it's like, I think Tia Mari had one, and then somebody else did a parody of this, like, hey girl, I'll beat you there. And then it's like, oh, I can't make it. Oh, that sucks. And then they start getting undressed. You want to I really want to see you though. And they get their snacks and they're like, yes, it's canceled. That don't mean I don't love you.
Right.
I'm tired.
It be like that. I think like, and I think like your friends will begin to understand how you are.
Right.
And they're going to know your temperament, and they're going to know what you're willing to do or not willing to do. Right. And they won't get offended if you're like, nah, I'm good. Or they'll be like, girl, you coming this time. You just said that 10 times in a row.
I need to see your face.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, it's different dynamics. I think sometimes like with women than with men, we're like, dog, come out the crib. And I think sometimes, from my experience, there was no love lost. I was be like, dog, you tripping, man. You know what you're missing? All right, cool. Go ahead. Ain't. And then we tell, hey, what happened? Then we tell them like, man, I should have came. We told you to come. You
right.
know? But I think it gets to a point where like sometimes you're like, I'm good in my space.
Yeah.
Right? I'm good in my space. And your friends understand that. They don't think you acting funny. They don't think you treating them differently. They just begin. And sometimes it is a conversation that's had. Like,
right.
yo, hey, y'all, I'm done kicking it as much. I'm working on this project, or my mind is on this, or I'm dealing with this at home. Right? And I think they understand. I think they should understand. And, some people complain that like, I ain't got no friends. They treat me like this, or they act like this. And I'm like, do you hear yourself? Like, do you not understand that we all evolve, and it's not that they're acting different, it's just that they're evolving and becoming. And sometimes when somebody is in their process and you haven't hit your process, or you're still where you are, you don't understand the direction your friend is going. And it's not that they're running from you, they're running to them.
That is a quotable, and people take that very personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I understand why, because when you have that kind of intimacy and that depth and that vulnerability and that comfortability and that those habits, when they're broken, you be like, wait, you switching it up on me? Like, what's going on?
Yep.
But I do think we tend to take that personally. I love that they're not necessarily running from you, they're running towards them.
Yeah.
And your role is to encourage them and to know that in doing so, there will be a place for you there.
For sure.
But if you can't, I don't want to say rise to the occasion. If you can't have enough room in your capacity to love the evolved person, then you've essentially kind of canceled yourself out. Like because you hear it all the time. When somebody, usually you hear it as it relates to money or success. Oh, they acting funny now. they busy.
Right.
They're really busy.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. And this isn't with like close friends. This is more with like acquaintances or people that I've had a fondness for. I've had people in my life that I really liked and I felt drawn to, and I felt like there was a friendship there or brewing or like a connection, and they've gotten a lot of success, or they've maybe progressed in their career and they're almost like untouchable now.
Yeah.
And there's a part of that feels very disappointing.
Yeah.
But I also know that's not personal. I don't think it is. I don't have any reason to believe it is. I know it can be just more a function of, I know how busy my life is.
Yeah.
And if you're in this particular role, I have a hard enough time. I have an assistant that helps me schedule my appointments. Mm-hmm. I see now why I can't access you. It's a feature of your life. Yeah. It's not a feature that's connected to me.
Well,
so it can be disappointing, but it's not personal.
So, and then I think there's a flip side to that.
Yeah.
Where you have somebody that's like so-called your friend, or,
right.
Y'all, you can hang out, you can do all this, but when you talk about, like, I'll give you an example. You know this example already, but I had a situation where I could hang with this individual. We were cool, good time hanging out, right? But whenever I would call them or want to talk about business, they never reached back out to me. They always kind of acted a little funny. And after that happened so many times, I had to call them out on it and say, listen, you supposed to be my boy, but every time I call you about some business stuff, you do this, this, and this. And it got to a point where I felt like, oh, shut up. Who you talk? No, I'm messing with you. Look, I'm in the gym by myself. Listen, I know some of you all have some goals. Some of you all feel like you've been stuck. Some of y'all feel like you're ready to go to your next level. And if you're ready to do that, make sure you go to purposeoverdreams.com. I have a free resource for you, and you'll gain access to my masterclass. Take care. They thought and felt that they could be the only black man winning in a certain space in terms of success. And I didn't like that. And we had a conversation and it squashed, and I was still like, make sure that they're okay. But I had to have that conversation because that wasn't cool.
See, it wasn't. And see, that's a good point too. Like discerning, like being able to discern when it is personal and when it isn't.
Yeah.
But then also like this awareness that happens again in marriage and in companionship, but also friendship, where like we keep talking about the maturity, like the evolution of self though. Uh-huh. So like the there could have been like a genuine like connection or friendship, but for whatever reason, that person felt threatened by the universe or by you, and you became a casualty. And then that's messed up because it's like, not only did I lose a friendship or what could have been a friendship, but you lost a friendship and what could have been a friendship too. Like there's a mutual casualty.
Yeah.
And sometimes that manifests too. So what do you think about like, right now everybody's talking about protecting my peace. I'm protecting my peace. Mm-hmm. And they just cutting people off. Yeah. Like, what do you feel like is the criteria for that?
To cut a person off?
Yeah, because like,
well,
long-term relationships, you, Larry, Phil, I mean, when you've been friends with somebody for 20 plus years. Yeah. 20 years, like.
Well, I think that, man, you're right. We've been cool over 20 years, over 25 years. Dang. Okay.
Me, Bianca.
Yeah. And then
we've been friends for 30 years.
And I ain't even add my
over 30 years.
I ain't even add my cousins like DB and Hen. Like that's my friends too. They cousins, but like that's been my rollie since. So that's like the same 6 people for years, and they've known me my whole life. But the criteria to cut somebody off, I think one of the first things that come to mind is sometimes I don't cut people off; they cut themselves off. Right, and what I would say the criteria is to cutting somebody off is like have a conversation. But an initial conversation that has to do with, hey, this is the direction I'm going. Where you going? Not like, let me just cut you off out the blue, but let's talk. Because that's what friends do. We supposed to have conversations, right? And I think when there starts to feel, when anybody starts to feel like a little animosity, a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of like, man, something is off, a conversation needs to be had. Because if it doesn't, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
But that requires self-awareness, though.
It does.
And humility, too.
It does.
Not in the traditional sense of the word, but you get
what I'm saying. I get what you're saying. So a conversation has to be had. But the hardest thing to do is to know somebody needs to be cut off and do it.
Yeah, that is hard. Because you still have love for them.
Yeah, right. But I think if you're focused on being the best you and moving towards whatever next level you're going to, and as I always say, creating the life and career that you desire, some people not going with you on the journey.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't mean that you don't like them, that you don't love them or have love for them. What it means is in this particular time of my life, when I am doing this, you're not welcome on this train for some reason.
Yeah. And that's with family too.
Well, that's family too. Right. And so, as we talk, I think, what's coming to mind for me is what are some of the specific things that will create a disconnect with friends? Like for you, like what are some like, you know what? We ain't cool no more. Like if somebody did what? You need me to start? Because I got some.
Yeah, go for it.
For me and my boys, one of the things that I'm always grateful for and thankful for is we have never once had an issue about a woman.
Yeah.
right? Well, in high school, me and L House, I think we liked the same girl, and I ended up dating her. I don't know, but it wasn't nothing crazy, right? It wasn't no homie hopping, right?
Like a betrayal in that
like
way.
a betrayal where like, oh, they tried to duck off with somebody that I really, really liked, or they tried to talk to somebody. We've never had that issue. So for me, something like that is a like that'll totally like shift the relationship.
Yeah,
right?
I think the deception and the betrayal of it is definitely a no-go. I mean, I've lived through this in some ways, so I agree with that.
Yeah.
I also kind of feel like, again, have you seen this thing on Instagram? I swear I don't always be on Instagram.
They sound like I'm gonna look at how many hours you've been spending on it.
I know, right? Social Dilemma. Yeah. Go watch it on Netflix. Have you seen this thing where the guy was making a toast at the wedding of his best friend and the wife? And in the toast, he described how he just loved how he adored how they looked at each other and how they just had so much chemistry. He said, at the time, I didn't really appreciate it because I was dating her. And everybody started laughing. And then they're like, but I came to realize that you're the one for her or something like that.
Dang.
And everybody just laughed. And in the comments, this is the comments. This isn't me. In the comments, people was saying stuff like, only like white people. Like, it's a cultural thing. They were saying that that's a cultural thing.
Okay. Like dating each other's.
Yeah. But I will say this. I think the deception and the betrayal and all that is one thing. But kind of what you were alluding to, like maybe there was a moment where you kind of liked someone and you and Larry like the same person. My friends, if I feel like my friends are baddies, like attractive, fun, cool, like good people, and you meet people, everybody's kind of fair game. Like it makes sense just physically or even just like energetically wise. Like let's just paint a scenario. If we're out and about and a guy sees a group of friends, I'm not offended that you're kind of like, dang, any one of them would be fine. Like they're all cute.
Oh, I thought you was going somewhere else with this.
No, but you get what I'm saying? Like any one of them are fair game.
So the guy that dated, if it was a guy that dated you.
No, I don't mean like
around.
I'm saying not betrayal or deception.
Just in general.
I'm just saying in general. The other thing I'm saying is I think there's like levels and nuance in your context to this too, because it's like if you're my friend and this guy and I are not working out, it might be because it was just an attraction. Like maybe that person is better for you. Like
I don't know about
maybe
that.
they are better for you. So I kind of feel like I don't know. So now, granted, I've never been in that particular kind of situation.
You talk about it like you show would.
Well, I'm saying it because I'm saying this, and maybe I would feel different.
So would you?
Wait, what?
Would you be the person who you're talking about?
Like which one? The one that's dated or the one
that would date the friend?
Now that's where it does get kind of like, I don't know if I would feel comfortable with that. I mean, if I was the friend that dated the person.
No. Answer the question. Would you be the one that dated the friend?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm just waiting for the answer.
I just said, I don't think I would be comfortable with that actually.
But you did, so that's your answer, or were you just like, would I be comfortable with that? Or that's your answer? I better run.
Well, this is different though. Like 17 years? No, I absolutely no. But I'm genuinely I'm not gonna just pacify you with an answer just because it sounds good. I want it to be a genuine answer.
Right. And I don't want you to do that.
If you're saying if my friend was dating a guy and then we had a connection, would I date him? Right? That I probably wouldn't do, like on that side of it. But I'm saying if I was the friend, I probably wouldn't be like, you can't do that.
So
it depends on how deep the relationship was too.
Okay. So for me, if any of my boys,
and then it depends on the friendship too. Like, is it a BFF or is it kind of like
listen?
You know?
The way that I operate and the way that I move, right? Not saying everybody has to do it this way. Like, let's take Kike, right? Let's take him, right?
Okay.
For an example, the fact that, say for instance, he broke up
Right.
with Sharon.
Right.
There is I do not care. What do I consider Enrique like a BFF? No, but we've worked, we've been around each other. Like I consider him a friend, like somebody that, like it's a developing relationship. I don't care. I ain't going there.
See, that is so interesting.
I'm not going there.
No, listen.
That's just me.
Listen. No,
Okay,
this is so
okay.
interesting because I agree with you. Actually, it's so funny. I actually agree with you. Like, I feel like the position is like, so if I were in this case, yeah, it's so interesting.
So I'm gonna give you another one. Say for instance, he was like, yo, this is introduced. His cousin came in town. He's like, yo, it's my cousin. Now I'm kicking it with his cousin. And his cousin brought his girl. Because of my relationship with him,
you still would.
I would not even dare think about the cousin's girl, even if she tried to holler at me. I just can't.
See, I understand that. And I think that's really nice on your part. But as the cousin, if I were the cousin, I would kind of be like, you don't owe me anything. I don't know you.
But I think like.
So it wouldn't go down because of your
just how
rule.
I move.
But as the cousin, I would feel like I don't have a right to that. Like, you're not, in that particular example, the cousin, he doesn't, how he gonna have, you're not friends.
But that's a connection through him.
Well, if that's the case, I mean, you realize it's literally like 3 to 6 degrees of separation in the world.
I get that.
Like,
but
everybody literally.
There's a lot more choices outside of this one that's too close for me.
Yeah, I'm not.
For me.
That's fine. Right. It's just so interesting how even me, because I think this is what's most important, I'm sitting here thinking about why I'm thinking the way that I'm thinking. Yeah. And I'm thinking about how on the side of the one that would then be dating the person, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that either. But on the side of the friend kind of giving permission, I could see I went through this with Bianca, where I met a guy. I kind of had a little bit of an interest in the guy. I find out through the guy that he knew her. I reached out to her like, yo, what's the deal? And she was totally like, I don't like him. Girl, go for it. If you like him, go do what you do. I would be just like her in her situation. But for me, I was like, yeah, nah.
That's not a good example.
Because you're my best friend.
That's not a good example because there's more to that. I'm just saying, that's not a good example.
It's a great example if you isolate it to the specifics of what we're saying.
Okay.
You're talking about best friend.
Okay.
You're talking about a friend.
Okay.
You're talking about if your friend, that's my friend.
Yeah.
Bianca's my friend.
I get that.
I'm giving a very literal example. I'm not going into all the 5 contexts.
We're not doing that.
So like, yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of interesting.
I think
because I would want my friend, like because you don't know people. So if I have a date or two, like with somebody, and it's like, this isn't really a vibe, and then I might even be the one to be like, you know what, y'all might match.
The only I'm having a little struggle just hearing how you answering this, but it's okay. It's okay. Because
you realize I'm not even saying I'm the one that would do it. I'm saying I'm the one that's saying, I want you to be happy.
Okay, I get that. So you're saying you would not do it in terms of, but on the other side as a friend, you'd be like, go ahead. That's what you're saying.
If that's not somebody that I was like in love with or was like this isn't a fit for me.
Okay.
So why would he be off limits to you?
Okay.
Like that might be your person.
Okay. So.
I feel like that's a good friend.
To get your sloppy seconds?
It does. I don't own anybody. It's an attraction. You meet, you try it out. You're like, oh, we're not compatible. That's not seconds.
I can't. I don't want to. Now.
This is an interesting topic.
Okay, but hold on. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. Now.
And why he gotta be sloppy?
But let me. Okay. Anyways, I'm not. You ain't touching my hand on this answer.
I just don't understand why
I was about
you're
to
so touched.
slap you. Get your little hand away from me. No, real talk. What I was thinking about though in this moment was like context again, right? Like say for instance, oh girl, when we was freshmen, that was my boyfriend, and then you meet later on in life, right? I think,
and you had no idea,
or even it was like, oh yeah, that was girl we dated in high school. I think that's different. I think that's a little different. But I think like. As adults, people hanging in the same circles, y'all kicking it with each other. I'm like, I just wasn't raised like that. I can't do it. And it's to me, like, and I think a word that we have to bring up again with friendship is respect.
True.
Right? And respect. And I think that's a conversation that people don't have enough to understand what that looks like for each person. You know what I'm saying? But respect for me is important. I don't ever want anybody to feel like I've disrespected them in something that I did and I didn't even know that it was disrespectful for them.
Right.
And it could happen.
Well,
but it could happen, and sometimes
it happens all the time.
It happens all the time for sure. But in this particular case, like, I just was taught and was raised like that's not like, for what? There's other people out here. You don't need to do that.
Well, in 5th grade, we was all dating the same people.
I mean elementary school, like
we was all in rotation,
right.
writing notes and talking on the phone.
This my girlfriend on Monday. Come Thursday,
you swap.
JoJo, what JoJo say? Remember? Oh man, JoJo said, "I got a crush," and I'm like, okay, who's your crush? Oh, she's sitting next to me, and we like, all right, cool. And her boyfriend sit on the other side. I'm like, wait, we don't do that. Not Johnson, man. We don't rock like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, if that's your homie, you can't be crushing on this girl, right? And not saying that, like, they're kids, so it is what it is. But I'm saying, like, as adults, at some point, and I do understand, like, compatibility with somebody.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it just can't happen based off of whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So clearly this is one huge criteria or boundary.
What?
I don't even know how we got here.
We're talking about friends. Like, would you date somebody that dates your friend? We're talking about friends. And I think, like, what are some things that is like, in friendships, right? Yeah. And I think, like, obviously, you would have went on a date or two and then maybe thought to yourself,
that's not what's up. Right.
For me, I would have been like, nah, I'm straight.
Like straight
not
up,
doing it. Right out the gate.
I think one for me, just a diversion from that would just be like I said before, the grace. And I think, if the other perspective I have too is that sometimes it's not that the relationship is over. Maybe it just changes.
Yeah.
Maybe it just shifts a little bit or it changes.
That can happen in a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
Like, man, so your little analogy was like, dang, it is. You're right.
It just can change because just based on where you are in life or whatever. So I think that's another thing. Like, if a person can't really, embrace or at the very least accept where I am in my life in a way that they don't have to agree, but if they can't accept or embrace it as just a demonstration of respect for the friendship, then it just tells me it might not be like, oh, we're not friends anymore, cancel culture, like I'm protecting my peace. It might just be like, I have to reorient myself to this relationship because you're still a valuable person. Like, I still care about you. You still bring value to my life.
Yeah.
I just can't be intimate in the same way.
I got you.
I can tell you one of the big things for me is just negativity. Like, when I was, a teenager or like maybe even in my 20s, what do you talk to your friends about? Ooh, did you see what she had on? Ooh, do you know who's dating who? Ooh, like that kind of stuff. That's kind of a waste of my energy. I don't really talk about like, I don't really gossip or like talk about things like that. So those friendships have limitations. I don't want to sit on the phone and talk like that. If that's what the dynamic is, then I'm more of like a happy birthday, girl.
Yeah. Shoot a text.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be like.
Yeah, especially. Like, I think that, that's a good point because the evolution of the conversation, right, and the maturation of the conversation as well. Like, I think about my boys when we were younger. Like, we were talking about, oh, she thick, she that, blah, 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 basketball, blah. And we still talk about basketball and talk about, oh, she fine. But we also like, you all right, what your kids doing? You know what I'm saying? Right. And I think what's most important is we tell each other we love them. We love each other. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people, as we get older, it's important, yes, for people to know that you love them with your actions, but sometimes people just want to hear it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I think, I think a prime example is like, when people send you a text and it's one of those texts just saying, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you. You've done this for me. And they don't know that you going through it and you needed that text to get through the day. Man, that's a game changer to get little messages like that.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's almost like the timing was connected to that chemistry, like that intuitive connection. Like you just got it right on time type of thing.
Yep. And so, as we, kind of wind this thing down.
I'm not done.
Oh, okay. My bad.
We're almost
No.
done.
But I mean, because there's just one other area. But go ahead. You got.
I do have a
go ahead.
question.
Drop it.
So the other thing is like, how do you know you're a good friend? Like we're talking about friendships and the receiving side of it, but like being a good friend.
I think it's knowing who you're friends with.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right, knowing who they are, knowing what they need, knowing what they're going through, knowing what they need, right? Knowing where you fit in their life, right? Because as a friend, you might be the one to emotionally calm them down, right? When they're like going through it, right? You can have a conversation and help them with their emotions. Their other friend is a really good friend, but they met each other through business. So that friend, when they going through something business, that's their friend, right? And so where do you fit in terms of your role as a friend? And some people, they try to get like business advice from a friend that's really only supposed to be there emotionally, or, you know what I'm saying? And I think we got to be careful. And so know what role you play. And it's not saying that you can't add more roles, or it don't mean that you can't fall into a different role at times, but just know your role by knowing who your friend is and what they're going through.
You said a word, because this is where the analogy or the parallels diverge. This is where they change.
Okay.
Because one of the things I think, at least in my experience, that we offer our friendships that we do not award our companionships is less responsibility, in the sense of like, I do have, and no one thing is more valuable than the other, but I do have friends that I know are going to give me so many nuggets of wisdom. Yeah. And then I do have friends that I know are going to be comforting to me and calm with me. And I have friends that are very encouraging. And then I have friends that, like, if we do need to go fight, we're not going to, but I know they would. Right. Whereas in marriage and companionship, we tend to expect that person to be everything.
True that.
And it's so much responsibility on that one person. Whereas in our friendships, I think we do tend to, it's more natural and it's socially acceptable. Like we're conditioned to give it more flexibility as we get older. So that's where I think it does grow, is different. Yeah. And like, as far as being a good friend, one of the things that I've come to have to kind of confront in myself in adulthood is that, like, and this has been really difficult for me, actually, discerning, like understanding the part of me that is emotionally very strong and kind of like a problem solver and all of that is a good thing. I'm adored for that in my work world. I'm adored for that in certain spaces. But in my most intimate friendships, it's distancing. And it would frustrate me. And so, it's like I'm having to like intentionally, like I actually have to work at this. It's not natural. Have to be more vulnerable in my friendships so that I nurture the relationship. So that it feels more connected. Whereas, and it's hard because it's like, it's kind of the best. A part of it is the best of me. Like I can like endure a lot of things. That's a good thing.
I got you.
So why do you got to pay the price?
Oh, shut up. Who you talk? No, I'm messing with you. Look, I'm in the gym by myself. Listen, I know some of you all have some goals. Some of you all feel like you've been stuck. Some of you all feel like you're ready to go to your next level. And if you're ready to do that, make sure you go to purposeoverdreams.com. I have a free resource for you and you'll gain access to my masterclass. Take care.
All right, so what was you saying now? We got cut off a little bit. We had to take a little quick break. Yeah, just jump back into it.
I was just acknowledging because we were the question we were both answering is how to be a good friend. Like we're talking about friends, like receiving friendship, but how to like extend friendship. That was just that was very friendly. I want to do it.
Oh my goodness.
But how, like, being a good friend, and I was just saying, like, one of the things I've become aware of in my friendships is that to keep it really rich and deep and intimate, it does require a level of vulnerability that a lot of my closest friends felt like they weren't getting from me. And a part of the reason they weren't getting it from me is, I hate to make it sound this way, but it is a feature of my resilience. Like, that's how I was conditioned. Like, I've grown up kind of like, figure it out. You don't really complain a lot about your feelings. You don't really, you work it out. So like, I wouldn't bring that to them.
But they would bring you things.
They would.
And so they didn't feel the reciprocity
of that intimacy.
Yeah.
And kind of like, and so I've had to really work hard to do that more.
Yeah.
And it is important for me to do. Like they're helping me develop that skill. But the other thing, because we were also talking about when you know a friendship has to end, it's also important to be able to discern or to determine if the friendship is requiring you to be somebody different than who you are too.
Right.
Like if the friendship helps me evolve, but it can't require me to be a different person.
True.
Because if that's the case, then this isn't really the friendship for me, you know? No,
that's real. I mean, and to your point, like I think one of the coolest things that I can appreciate about, friendship specifically is, when I've gone through some of my worst times, those same people that I consider friends were the people I called on.
That's right.
Right? And even if it's somebody that just needs to vent, I'm an ear. If you want feedback, I can give you feedback, right? Like, it's funny because one of my boys was like, all right, wait, Joe, you just want me to listen to you? Or you want me to give you some feedback?
Check
like what you want, right? And then they let me play devil's advocate for a minute. You know what I mean? So like trying to get you to see it from, and so I think that's cool. Like I don't take offense to that. Because one of the issues that we have in this lifetime in regards to friendship, your team, your circle, is there are too many yes men and yes women.
Right. Not giving you the hard truth.
Not
about
giving
yourself.
you the truth, right? And when you have a bunch of yes people around you, you find out later that you're not who you really thought you were in terms of your skill or ability or how fine you think you were or how whatever, because those people were just gassing you and not keeping it real with you.
Right.
And then when that time hits where you finally realize like, oh, it hurts. It hurts. So you can't keep a bunch of yes people around.
Don't you feel like it's kind of a hard thing though to balance that, because you also have to be a friend. I also can appreciate a friendship that, yes, you can give me a hard truth, but that hard truth is anchored in affection or it's anchored in the best of me. Not like just criticism. Like that's shady. That's like, what is that really? Like, I think you're really throwing shade. I don't think you're trying to, but I've had people like that.
Well, for sure. But I think your friends know how to communicate to you.
Right.
And with you. You know what I'm saying? And so and you have sometimes you're so close with people, y'all are communicating and other people don't know. So you be like,
right. Yeah, you have that unspoken.
Yeah. Like in middle school, me, my boy, Marcus Ivy, who I'm still cool with, and another one of my boys who in middle school, we don't really talk too much now, but we used to be like, that was our face when that's foul. Like that joke was horrible.
No, y'all also
see, like to this day, if we in a space and somebody try to crack a joke and it's not funny, you might hear a sound that just goes ear. And only the people that know.
It's like a little unspoken language.
And I think that's what's cool about friendship. Like sometimes you have your own communication. But once again, going back to what you were saying is your friends know how to communicate with you. You may have your own communication and they know what works best so that you can actually hear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you acquired that knowing over time.
Yep.
And it does change over time too. You know, how do you okay, two last thoughts.
Okay.
How do you make sense of, because I've heard this in adulthood. I've heard people saying like no new friends.
Yeah.
Or like just being really skeptical of bringing new people into their life.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about that? Because
Yeah, I mean, it's simple for me. When I heard that song back in the day, No New Friends, Drake, I believe, I was like, man, that's foolish. That's foolish.
Just that simple.
It's that's simple because the reality is everything we do is based off relationships, right? Now, will somebody come into my life and be a BFF? Like, I don't call them BFFs, but like be my dog, like my ride or die? Probably not. But can I get very close to somebody where we're developing a very strong friendship and relationship? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So in my life, most of the things I've been able to do is because of a relationship that I had.
yeah.
And if you start saying to yourself, I don't need no new friends, I don't need this, it creates a certain in a sense like force field where people can't tap into you. And sometimes somebody that you don't know needs to tap into you so that it can help you go to whatever next level you're going to.
And don't be selfish, people, so you can help them.
And you can help them.
we're
Vice versa. That's what
communal
friendship
people.
is. Yeah.
You know, yeah, like I think because that the idea like no new friends kind of implies two things. A fear. An operating system connected to fear. Like, why is that you're inhibiting your own source of like connection and resource? And B, it also communicates that a criteria for best friendship is longevity. Like it is like only people that I grew up with.
Yeah.
Where it's like you might meet people in this era of your life, or I have met people in more recent eras of my life that have brought so much value to me. And I feel like I have to them too. So I just wouldn't want to inhibit myself that way. I think sometimes we're saying it because energetically, it's like I don't really have anything else to give. So that's really, I feel like what it is. Like I don't want to put forth that kind of effort.
Right.
Okay, just say that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, so I always tell people that there's an expiration date on loyalty, right? And when there's an expiration date on loyalty, what that means is there may be people that you've been friends with for a long time, but because you're evolving and they're still in a certain place, you don't have them anymore. So if the idea is no new friends,
Now you alone.
you by yourself, right?
Yeah.
So now it's what do you do if you intake the concept or the idea of no new friends when you're actually evolving, and sometimes those old friends won't come with you.
Yeah, that is, you're speaking to the fact that is kind of a limiting orientation to yourself. Like you're not letting yourself, you know what else? People die.
People pass away.
People die young.
Yeah.
People die. You have to, I am of the perspective that I would like to welcome valuable influences and like good people into my life from all eras of life. So like some friends are younger, some friends are older, like significantly older, because shoot, somebody got to help me if like, if
You're
like,
selfish.
I mean,
You just want somebody.
I'm
No,
just
kidding.
saying, like, well, like think about it. Like if I remember I was working in a nursing home setting, and this woman, she was such a sweet woman, one of my little clients in the nursing home, she had been married twice. Her husbands are dead. Her siblings are all dead. Her children, she had 3 children. All 3 of her children were dead. You need a 60-year-old friend to come up in here and visit you. Because everybody, you don't want to be the last one.
I feel you. I'm not knocking that. I mean, I get it. And I think that's one thing that sometimes we don't think about, right? In terms of like the friends, the close friends that we do have. What do we do when they pass away? Right? Because I don't think I've ever thought about what I would do if any of my boys,
y'all are all in the same kind of age,
right?
too.
And yeah, I never really thought about that. And you know, I think the one thing that in this moment that I will do is continue doing what we've been doing and making sure we tell each other we love, we love each other, because you just never know. You know what I'm saying? And I think no matter how old you are, how young you are, like you never know when your last day will be.
You better go collect you some 20-year-old friends.
Go get.
And age.
Where do I do it? You talking about swiping left and swiping right?
Will you be like, man, check that story, baby?
Hey, go get you some youngsters who they willing to go to Applebee's on the first date. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not talking about courtship.
No, I know. I'm talking crazy.
Okay, I promise. Last question.
And I got one too. So go ahead.
Oh, you go.
Okay, so I think, and this is very important. So talking about friendship, obviously.
Yes.
And I think it's important for me to share this, right? So I had a friend, and I considered him like a brother, right? And I helped this individual through so many different hard times, right? I was in their wedding. Mm-hmm. I love this dude. You know, they were from another country, but I made sure he was good and he was all right when he was here. And I introduced my blood little brother to this individual. Mm-hmm. And my brother introduced his girlfriend, and they all would hang. Mm-hmm. And I found out that this dude who I consider my brother ended up dating my brother's girlfriend and having a baby, right? And for me, I knew our relationship would never be the same, right? And so I think, what are some of those things where if whatever incident happens, and I could share that story, and I don't really got to give names because it's all over Love and Hip Hop Miami.
No, it's kind of
You
public
know what I'm
knowledge.
saying?
I mean, you know.
But what are some things when it comes to friendship, if they do whatever, that's it?
Well, yeah, we kind of talked about this already. Like, we talked about...
Well, like some specifics, like if somebody stole some money from you, right?
Yeah,
like,
no, that's not what's up. I mean, do they have a drug problem?
See, it's context.
I mean, because I'm not saying that means it's okay, because now the rules of engagement around the friendship have to change, and my boundaries have to change. But like,
I'm talking about just you cutting him off.
But if my friend has a drug problem, like, so I don't know. I think maybe, to your point, a lot. I know there are things, but it's hard for me to think on the spot. I think those are some of the things that are kind of contextual in a way. Because if you steal from me, that's a problem. However, if you got a drug problem, as your friend, I'm probably going to try to help you with that first. Yeah. And then kind of be like, yo, that shit ain't right, you know? Okay.
Can I throw this on you?
Yeah.
Say, for instance, you found out that your friend molested,
no.
So is that like an immediate cutoff from friendship, or are you trying to get them help?
Well, we're definitely going to need to get you help so you don't harm other people's people. Mm-hmm. But we're not friends. Okay. So this is great too, because you're kind of illustrating like the humanity of it all too. Like, we're definitely, and then in a situation like that, you're going to probably have a lot of rage, a lot of anger, a lot of a lot of emotion. Yeah. So I don't even know if I'd want to help you right away. Right. But I do feel like I can extend support or help if it's an issue. Yeah. And without being your friend. We're no longer cool.
I got you.
You know, I might even still pray for you. Hell, I need to probably pray for you more. Because clearly we got an issue. Right. But we're not friends.
I got you. So I'm just thinking what are those incidents where it's right? Because I think about the situation where this wasn't a BF, I don't even use, this wasn't a best friend, like a homie, but it was somebody I kicked it with, I rocked with. And then they end up getting locked up for sexual assault rape. Yeah. Right. And I'm and I went to go see them to check on them, and then it kind of just phased out. Yeah. But I was like, what do I do? How do I move? I was a little confused in that situation. You know what I mean?
Well, it's confusing. I mean, I think that's the other thing that you're illustrating is kind of what I was saying before. There's almost this kind of fragmented nature in certain friendships. Some are broader and deeper than others. Yeah. But it's sometimes our friendships are based on a very like a window of somebody. Like you don't know everything about somebody, or you're getting to know everything about somebody, or maybe you do know everything about somebody and some parts of it are very unappealing, but you also find value in other parts of them. I think it's pretty complicated. Like, I think it's really complicated.
Yeah.
You know, and you also say you are a product of the people you place in your presence. Say
that again.
You are a product. Dr. Joe says you are a product of the people you place in your presence.
That's for sure.
So I do not think good friendship means being self-sacrificing in a way that is destructive to you.
Okay.
And a friend wouldn't even want you to do that. So it's like, this isn't good for me. Yeah. I can no longer associate myself with you.
Yeah.
And maybe that is a feature, maybe that is a form of the friendship that helps you be more accountable to yourself, because it's like, nah, I done lost a good friend because I'm acting a kind of way, or I'm doing stuff I shouldn't be doing.
You bring it up. I'm sorry.
This is tricky.
You're right. So I got another question.
This is a real topic.
I got
People
another
be sleeping
question.
on
They do. I got a question for you. What do you do when one of your good friends, if you have a good friend, right, you don't like the way they parenting? Or like, you don't like the way that they're treating their kids, or you don't even, how do you handle that?
I don't know.
It's rough.
Yeah, that's tricky. I don't even know.
It's rough because
I'm struggling with that sometimes.
I think we all do, but I think like, even the situation where like, yo, you cool with this man who don't want to take care of his kids or go see his kid, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. Right. I'm like, yo, bro, if you gonna get you gotta, and sometimes it's, I'm doing everything I can. She not, and if you seeing, like for me, if I'm seeing my boy doing everything they can, they trying to, but the mama ain't having it and doing everything to prevent that. That's tough.
Yeah, but Joe, I don't know the answer to this, but I do think some of what you're saying is a feature of the friendship. Yeah. It's like, dude, that ain't right. Yeah. Don't do that. Or it's I have women friends in my life that, I have a lot of empathy for parenting, because parenting is so hard.
For sure.
And it's like, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And so if I don't agree with the way a friend is raising their children, that's fine. Like, who am I to decide how they're treating, like how they raise their kids? On the other hand, if harm is being done to the kids, or if there's a hostility or a harm, and I think my perspective of it is nuanced because of my job, then I think my role becomes, okay, first, before judgment, what is this about?
Yeah.
Because usually it's connected to stress or depression or anxiety or something else, or trauma of their own. So first, it's like no judgment, no shade, no reprimand. Like, who am I to do that? First, it's like, you okay? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, do you need some support? You want me to come over there and get them kids? Which I really do not do often, because I know my own limits. I'm not one to babysit people's kids, so that's not a good example. Right. But do you need a referral for, whatever? You need me to pray?
Yeah.
You need a good read. And then I think it is also sometimes like, yo, come on. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, that don't gotta be how that goes.
And then you might get hit with the, don't you tell me how to raise my kids,
blah, blah.
And
that's a part of being a friend too. You're gonna have to just tolerate some of that, because really that's just about a tenderness. That's not about anything but a tenderness, because I'm not judging you.
I got you.
So I think it's that too. So since we're saying this, can I say my last question?
And I got one last one at the end.
We've been on our last one for like 20 minutes.
You, then me, and then we gonna shut this thing down.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I didn't realize how much
there was to say about friendships.
Yeah.
So what do you think about being friends with your children?
The same way that I explained, to some future school counselors and people that I work with, is that, when you're an educator, or when you're doing work with young people, you have to make sure that they know, I am not your friend, but I am friendly. Mm-hmm. Right? And so when it comes to my children, our children.
Yeah, we share them.
Right now, listen, right now, I know that.
I mean,
Right now, I am not your friend. I am friendly. But I think as they get older and they become adults, I don't think I will have the same I am not your friend, because I want to be your daddy, and because the dynamic shifts.
Right.
Right.
It's a developmental thing.
Developmentally, right? And so at that point, we might be hanging. Right, as father son, like I ain't going to no club with my kids, but I'm just saying,
You
like,
would never go to a club with your kid?
maybe to a lounge or something. But I ain't going to. I don't know if I'm going to the club with my kids, because I've been there, done it. I don't think so.
So you know me and Granddaddy.
I
went to
know
the club.
y'all did, and maybe, because I could still, but I would just be chilling.
It was hilarious.
He was in there
My
with his
granddaddy
dance.
was in there like, And let me tell you when it got awkward. And I was like, maybe this is not the best. It got awkward when, wait till you see my.
Oh yeah, wait till that song came on back in the day.
I was like, oh.
And he was in there like,
yes. And I was like, oh, Granddaddy, no.
And your
no.
girls was like,
Well, they thought it was the cutest thing. No.
And he probably took. Well, I ain't gonna say it.
No, he didn't.
I'm just kidding.
Don't you do that.
Kidding. Sorry, Gam. I was just kidding.
I rebuke him in the name of Jesus. But okay, so friendly, not friends. And then, maybe our next episode we could talk a little bit about parenting more directly.
Yeah.
Again, because my question would then be, how do you teach that? Like, how do you make sure that they have that understanding?
Right.
Because I think that's a hard thing. Because I see you with our children, and you are very much their friend in a way. Like I could see how they would feel that way because you're fun with them. You like laugh with them. You joke with them. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so how do they?
But then they know when daddy don't play,
they know that too.
Play,
they know
right?
that too.
But
so I think we should get into what helps to differentiate that. Because depending on how you grew up, it's like. Kids have to stay in their place. Parents and you have to fear. We do not believe that our children have to fear us in order to respect us.
They need to have a healthy fear.
I don't think my kids need to fear me.
Listen, a healthy fear is just, that's my mama and my mama don't play. That's it.
But that's respect to me.
That's respect and a healthy fear. Like, if I do this, my mama gonna, or my daddy gonna. Not like,
that's true.
If I do this, I'm gonna get beat and they gonna, like, no, not that.
But you know what, though? Even that, I feel like our kids, especially Joey, but even Carter is becoming this way. I don't feel like the respect is anchored in the fear. I feel like the respect is anchored in the love. And I feel like the respect is also anchored in the like
disappointment of
in us. The disappointment, because I feel like they're more inclined to shift their behavior when they feel like you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, for sure.
Not like, oh, I'm scared. It's more like Joey be regulating, like, you got to have a fruit when you make your lunch. You have to have fruit in the, like everything.
And then when he feel bad, we get a little note, a text like he did,
You get a little text. I'm so sorry. Right. So I think that actually has been just more effective.
I got you.
So we can get into that, but
So let me just wind us down with this last question, and we closing out.
Wind us down.
And I think that because we're talking about friendships, I think this is the question that a lot of people talk about. Sometimes, can men be just friends with women, and can women be just friends with men?
Absolutely. I hope so. I think mature.
Hope so and absolutely two different things.
Absolutely.
Back it up.
Mature, self-aware, good boundaried men and women can have platonic friendships. Absolutely.
What if they're attracted to each other?
I think that it shifts that level of friendship, the degree of friendship, and that kinds of things. But I think that I think that too is possible. Okay. I think that too is possible. So you saying I could only be having a platonic friendship with an ugly man? Like,
with an ugly man? Ain't nobody saying ugly man.
But I'm saying, you're saying, what if you're attracted? Like, so what?
Oh, you said, okay.
Like, so I can only have male friends that's ugly.
Well, think about it, because I think if you had a nice looking guy around you, I think some men would get jealous. Or they're whoa. It's the same way. Like, if I bring a baddie around, you might be like, hold on. But if I bring somebody, hold on. Hold on.
Let me actively listen.
No.
Because I was about to jump in there.
You would. No, but I'm just saying, if I bring somebody around that you'll be like, oh yeah, Joe thinks she's fine. And they about their stuff, you thinking like, hold on, who is this chick? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I know exactly what you would be attracted to. So
you don't know exactly.
So
you assume.
You know what it would be? I would be watching you.
And watching me how?
It wouldn't be like I don't have, especially at this stage of my life. At this point, y'all have watched episode 2. Especially at this stage of my life, with
this
everything.
This is episode 1.
I'm saying no. This
2,
isn't. This
3,
is
4, 5, 6. Oh, damn, I'm tripping.
catch up, sir. Especially y'all have watched that by now, hopefully. Especially with everything that I've been through, everything that we've been through, everything that I'm learning, where I am in my life. This is not a dictatorship. I do not own you. This is not a possessive situation.
Yeah.
I am growing increasingly comfortable with the idea of sharing a life with someone where there is as much freedom as allows us to be our best us. And we are responsible for regulating ourselves.
Gotcha.
So I'm not about to be like, she can't be your friend. That's crazy to me.
Right.
But I'm not going to lie. There is a vulnerability. Mm-hmm. So I would be watching. I would kind of be paying attention. Like, is my husband acting shifty around her? Is he treating me the same around her? Mm-hmm. And if I felt concerned, then my job is to bring that to you.
Communication. Effective communication.
Well, we would try. It would be to bring that to you. So I want to believe that that's kind of where I am with that. Nah. Okay. You want to have, I can't be mad that somebody's attractive. And then if they're about their stuff, I want you to have a connection, because that's a resource that brings value to your life and ultimately probably mine. I got you. And then the other thing is, some of us are, even for myself, there are deep insecurities that sometimes we have that we're not even connected to, that are revealed to us when we're in intimate, vulnerable relationship. Yeah. So at the end of the day, if I know who Brandy is, there's not another one like her, that don't mean better or worse, then I have to be secure in that. Yeah. Like, if another bad female is around, good for you. What do they say? Good for you, sis. I have to trust your integrity. And I have to really anchor myself in my sense of security. Now, that don't mean it's going to be comfortable, but that's my position.
All right. Well, you kind of broke it down. I don't even got to respond.
So Idris and I can be BFFs.
I mean, that's okay? That's on you. Bring his wife around.
She cute too.
I could be. That's my homie.
She could be your BFF?
Yeah.
Anywho.
That's my homie.
We ain't starting no rumors today. And no rumors today.
I'm messing with you.
That's so disrespectful.
I'm talking crazy.
Talking about his wife.
But listen. Let's close this thing out. What's your takeaway? You got 30 seconds.
I don't want to miss nobody. My takeaway is Joy, Bianca, Chayla, Kaniqua, Alicia, Jocelyn, Michelle. There are no words to express how much you mean to me. Those are my closest boos. Yeah. And then there's others that are incredibly valuable, but I gotta name them.
I got you. My takeaway is...
And my sister, Ashley. Oh, my God. The first love of my life. I mean, she's my sister. So, but your family's your friends, too. Yeah. Like Kaniqua, my cousin. But my sister, Ashley. Oh, my God.
I got you. I think my takeaway is friendship ain't easy. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that, in terms of friendship, we probably should have more conversations about, as we move forward. Well, as I move forward, there's just some things that I'm going to make sure to take into consideration based off our conversation today, and keep rocking with my friends who I've been rocking with. You know what I'm saying? L House, M Ivy, Phil Calvert, H Mac,
shout
and
out.
DB. I can shout out. And my little bro. I just said it. That's H Mac. That's H Mac. My little bro MJ. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So with that said, y'all, listen.
And the new people that are coming into our lives.
Well, we got crew. We got people. We got my boy Mark, Chris from Florida, everywhere. We got people from everywhere. And I think that the thing that I've learned that I know how to do is create connection and community with people wherever I go.
It is health and wellness, y'all. Get your healing.
Yeah.
It is so critical to have community.
Yeah.
And so shout out to our individual and collective community.
Yep. And just to close us out, if you really thinking about, hey, man, I got this friend, I don't know if I should rock with them, go get my book, Pursue Your Purpose, Not Your Dreams, and go to the part about teams, and it walks you through an activity on if they should be in your life or you should get rid of them. All right, so with that said, go follow us, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. And with that said, look at that. Y'all hear, that's my son's phone going off.
What you gonna do?
Who calling him?
What you gonna do?
But make sure you subscribe, like, comment, go watch full episodes. We talking about friendship. That was probably his friend calling him right now. It is what it is. But with that said, I'm Dr. Joe.
And I'm Dr. Brandy.
And you just been taken for a hell of a ride. Take care.
I'm Dr. Brandy.
I'm Dr. Joe.
On this episode, the challenge we're bringing to you today is one of self-appraisal. We want you to list the 5 characteristics that you believe make you a good friend. And then you got to go check it out. Go ask a friend to see if they experience you in the way that you desire. And then we have a resource.
Yeah,
right?
love that. And make sure you go get my book, Pursue Your Purpose, Not Your Dreams, because in this book, the specific chapter about teams, it walks you through an exercise to figure out if somebody should stay in your life or you should get rid of them, right? They got to get the boot, all right? So make sure
you kicking people to the curb.
We kicking people to the curb in this year. That's what we doing. But real talk, make sure you do what's necessary to create the peace that you desire in your life. Take this challenge seriously and make sure you listen to what Dr. Brandy said, because it's time to get people out your life.
or you getting kicked out.
Or you getting kicked out.
If you don't,
There we go.
Take the challenge, y'all.
Y'all take care.